Welcome to Brief History Conspiracy.
This week, the Dechmont Forest incident.
Okay, please, if you're new to the series, like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Right, so I'm going to tell you a story.
Right, yeah. This is a UFO incident that I'm not aware of.
And I became aware of it a week ago. So
right, okay.
It shows how really into conspiracies we are.
Yes.
So there's a bloke. It's in the Dechmont Forest incident. This is in West Lothian. Now this story is considered sort of like one of the most famous UFO incidents to happen in Scotland. There's this fella, Robert Taylor, 61 years old at the time. Back in 1979 on November 9th. It was 10:30 in the morning, which is also pretty unusual because normally these things happen at night, don't they?
Yes.
They almost always happen at night. This didn't. It happened during the day. There's a few other bits about this story that actually are very interesting, that are quite unusual for sort of like this kind of story. But
okay.
I'll tell you all about it. So this guy, he was a war hero.
Okay.
He was a teetotaler. He didn't drink, and he was a churchgoer. So there's no reason to disbelieve this guy. He wasn't running around with tinfoil on his hat. He wasn't, running around going, "Oh, the aliens are coming, the aliens are coming." Then after about 6 months saw one, and you think, really? So basically, in the morning, 1979, he was basically for the Forestry Commission, and he went into a clearing in Dechmont Forest and saw a 30-foot dome-shaped object, right?
Okay.
Which he described as a UFO. Then, all of a sudden, these spiky round balls were rolling towards him. He passed out unconscious, but he says he was aware that they were grabbing him from either side. These things were grabbing him from either side, right?
Beings.
Or something. I think it's the balls. And it tore his trousers, all right? He then woke up after about 20 minutes, jumped into his car, crashed it, trying to get home. He then stumbled into his home with his wife there, all confused, dazed, whatever, telling her what had happened, and she said, "We're phoning the police."
Yeah, no, you would, wouldn't you? That's the first protocol, isn't it? Yes.
Exactly. Now this is where this is one of those stories that you'd hear, but you'd probably dismiss, But they did phone the police, and the police arrived.
Okay.
Okay, so I got to get their names right for this.
I guess you're cutting this bit out.
Yeah, I will cut this bit out.
I'll have a sip of tea at this moment then.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the people that then... Just like my mug, by the way. Hear that? People say I'm patronising, which means I treat you as if you're stupid. My wife bought that for me. I'm not sure she loves me.
Well, respect's a two-way street, isn't it?
I think maybe she knows me.
I was going to say, I think she knows you. Yeah. No, I'd be very much the same, to be honest, mate. People don't deserve respect until they prove their intelligence. That's the way I look at it.
The favourite thing you ever said to me was, was it?
Nine
9 times out of 10, I'm the cleverest person in the room. No, it wasn't that.
No, it wasn't that. It was someone accused me of being arrogant, and I went, yeah, but it comes with life experience. If 9 times out of 10 you are correct, you tend to follow that as the general rule.
9 times out of 10, I am the cleverest person in the room. You turn to learn. That's what you said. I did like it. Right, anyway, moving on from Damien's arrogance. So,
sorry.
Detective Constable Ian Work is one of the people that then has documented this since. When he arrived in the clearing that was identified by Robert Taylor, there was already a bunch of other policemen there, and they were investigating a bunch of indentations on the ground. There was several, 32 rectangular indentations on the ground, a couple of inches deep. There was tracks that looked like caterpillar tracks as well at one point, which maybe was just these ball things that were rolling towards him.
Possibly, yeah, okay.
These are all seen and witnessed and recorded by the police.
Okay, so there's physical evidence of some unusual markings there, which indicates something occurred at that point then.
Gets more than that.
Right.
They couldn't detect any elements of these markings arriving or leaving. Right? So they were only in the clearing.
So they came
as if
from
something
the air,
landed and made these indentations.
Okay, right.
They then looked at local machinery so from the company that owned this forest, and they looked at that. None of the tracks and wheels and things matched these markings.
Okay.
Right, so it's going to go like...
Yeah, okay, it's starting to build the evidence, yes.
The police, and obviously he also had tears in his trousers, and he was... In the years since, because this was 40 years ago, in the years since, he's never changed his story. He did die in 2007.
Okay.
He's been interviewed. He's He's done speeches for MUFON and things like this, and the Scottish Alien Society or UFO Society. He has never changed his story. A PC, Doug Willis, said that these markings that they're on about, they just seem to appear. There was no rational explanation for them. The MOD investigated. And Nick Pope is why I'm aware of this, because he basically tweeted about it recently. It's been 40
did he?
years.
Right, yes, okay, yes.
And
Nick
he
Pope,
genuinely said the police and the MOD consider this to be one of the very few cases they've investigated that there's no explanation
in that
for.
5% that there's no explanation,
5%,
where
yeah.
there's actual evidence of flying, of fast flying metallic objects, seen or observed, tracked on radar, ground observations. Did they do any radiation testing? Were there radiation?
I don't think
levels?
it was that point.
So
Not
they
that I'm
didn't-
aware of.
I suppose it was 1979.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They seem to do that in more of the later.
Yeah, because again, this wouldn't
sightings
have been.
that are in that 5% that Nick Pope admits.
You're talking
are
about
legitimate.
79 as well, and in the UK. We just weren't used to this sort of story. Now,
No.
he may have seen Close Encounters of the First Kind or Star Wars or something, and that's where this came from. But it seems unusual. I don't know, under these wheels with the spikes, where's that's come from. There's a lot of elements to this story, but mainly there was corroborated physical evidence. And at very least, Robert Taylor believes what happened. He believes this.
Yes.
So I don't think this is like crop circles, or some crop circles, because you're
Okay, I
probably
was
jumping
gonna
and
say,
going, they're not bloody faked. Some crop circles
Circles.
that are faked with a bloke with a polling thing. I don't believe he faked these indentations and then told the story. So something weird happened on this morning. Sorry.
Yes.
There has been some theories on what might have happened in a non-UFO kind of way, though.
Right. Okay. Well, the
Is it-
human memory does play tricks on people, and
Yeah.
and as much as people like to think they can remember everything perfectly from their past, you don't, and you come up with your own
The brain doesn't work
story.
like that.
No, it basically you create your own memories, and therefore they're warped by your own bias.
Yeah. Well,
it's
our,
impossible not to do that.
How we see the world is purely based on you don't absorb enough information to record things, so you withdraw information and then you basically use your own memories to understand what you're seeing, so that's your perception. So that's why three people can see the same thing, but they can have very different memories of it because they're seeing it from their own perceived point of view. They're understanding
yeah.
it using their own knowledge and information.
Yes.
So
I assume this was a single person sighting in this.
yeah, nobody else saw. There
Dechmont
was
Forest incident.
no other eyewitnesses in the area.
See, that's where it's difficult to then prove it either way.
Yeah.
Because it could just be his
Except-
own memory
yeah.
interpreting something very
Except
unusually.
that doesn't explain the physical evidence.
Well, no, it doesn't explain the physical evidence that was there.
Now,
So
there are
something
some-
did occur there that created those indentations without a shadow of a doubt, and it didn't enter or exit that clearing.
So now we do have to though, get a little bit to know Robert Taylor.
Okay.
He had meningitis a little bit before this. He was
Right.
told to go to hospital. He went to hospital, spent 2 hours, and then left because he couldn't be asked to wait. Right. So there was some talk about how medically fit he was. So one of the theories that
Okay.
goes around now is that actually he possibly had some sort of seizure.
Yes.
That would explain the 20 minutes unconsciousness. It would explain his confusion, everything, crashing his car on the way back.
Yep.
And then there is also this water tower in the local vicinity. And there's Phil Fenton's a local businessman and general amateur UFO guy who
Okay.
says he believes this is what happened, and he's actually seen this water tower, which is near. It is this large dome-shaped concrete object
How close to the clearing is it?
within a mile.
Oh, okay, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, and he believes that during his confused state, he may have come in contact with chemicals or something else because of his job that maybe could have added to this. But he believes that's what happened. And when you see the concrete thing, obviously I'll put an image up. It is a very large, quite unusual water tower, water storage thing. It's probably about 30 foot. I haven't measured it, but it's a very large dome-shaped object. The problems I have with that was this guy was he worked for the Forestry Commission, and he took police directly back to where he said it happened.
Right. Okay.
Which is
okay. So he's pretty adamant.
He'd have known where this water feature was. Oh, you can go for walks there now. There's a little plaque and everything.
Oh, okay.
So he's gone back many times. And like I said, he never changed his story. He doesn't doubt that this happened.
Who commissions a plaque for an event that never happened? But anyway,
it's a little plaque, and now people can go for a walk through the woods and go to the site of.
Mind you, I suppose the local
Roswell.
tourism board could jump on that, couldn't they, as a point of interest for tourists? So that's probably where the plaque comes from, I imagine.
Yeah, it's just only a little stone with a bit of metal on, but I personally, I find this fascinating. It's one of the more interesting stories, of UFO stories for me. This isn't just some bloke saying, I saw this. This is some bloke saying, I saw this, and, oh, by the way, I can back it up with some evidence. How often does that actually happen?
About 5% of the time, according to Nick Pope.
Yeah. And when you got somebody like Nick Pope, who I think we will discuss again when we really get our teeth stuck into aliens, but he is one of the more trustworthy, less nutty.
Well, he went into his position at the MOD as a complete sceptic, and then within 5 to 10 years of doing the job, investigating unidentified flying objects, he turned into a complete believer. Yeah. What's his book? Open Skies, Closed Minds, I think. That's a good read. But he comes and says that
5% though, he was really sensible. He's just saying that a lot of this stuff, the UFOs, is nonsense.
Yeah, 95%.
I'll say something. I generally sat, and I've done a video in the past about how I generally thought I saw a UFO once, and I'm absolutely certain I didn't. I'm not absolutely certain. There's a little bit of doubt, which is why we did a video on it. But I'm sure it was probably in that 95%. I probably was looking at a helicopter or something.
I find that Sky at Night app. I'm not sure I can't remember what it's called. Probably shouldn't say anyway on a broadcast.
We're not the BBC. We're okay.
I know we'll probably be alright. But there's an app you can do where if you see something like an unusual light in the sky, you can like use your phone and aim it at it, and it tells you if it's a satellite, if it's an orbiting planet, or you know, if you're pointing at it and it can't come up with anything. That's when then that's when you'd really. So I've used that a few times in recent years when I thought I've seen something unusual and it's turned out to be something that we can explain. You know, the International Space Station.
I've seen satellites before,
and I've seen satellites. And
meteorites as well.
It also tracks plane flights as well, both military and civilian plane flights. So if it's a plane, you can see it's a plane as well.
If you're a terrorist, you want that, don't you? We're going to talk about 9/11 in about 5 minutes. If you're a terrorist, you want that, don't you?
It's a good app, isn't it?
There it is. Shoot the missile. You know, so I pulled back from doing an accent then.
Yeah.
I started to. I went, oh God, don't do an accent. I've done that before. Don't do that. Right, so it's the 40th anniversary of this story. I gotta wonder whether there's something in it. Whether it's a UFO or not, I don't know. But it's a fascinating story.
It is, definitely an interesting story with physical evidence. Shame they didn't use a Geiger counter. Shame they didn't test for any radiation, because if you had radiation levels above the normal background,
that would be very interesting.
To back that up, then you would have to say that something landed from the sky with a power source that emits nuclear radiation, and
or some sort of
that then even compounds the physical evidence further.
And to have police believe in him, to have police even years later coming out and talking about this and saying, we think something happened. You know,
but police are trained to look for the evidence, aren't they? So if they're seeing all that hard evidence on the ground and they can't find trails in or out, and the guy's telling you this story that sounds believable and that he doesn't exhibit any telltale signs of being a compulsive liar or causing any previous problems with the police, then you have to start questioning the validity of his statements. I mean, did they put him through a lie detector test? Well, that's sort of another
they
one.
Don't
but
work anyway.
And
it would only be basically based on whether he believed it or not, wouldn't it? Just because he believed it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. That's the problem with the story.
Because they're still not admissible in any court, are they? Lie detectors.
They don't really work.
They don't. Yeah.
All they really detect is how nervous you are.
Yeah.
Really. They're a bit more complicated. They're a bit better than that nowadays, but they're not great. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Please like and subscribe.